So, your CPA firm feels like it's slammed into a growth ceiling, right? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful strategy: building a flexible offshore back office. This is all about how you can smash through that barrier and really, truly scale your firm. Does this question just hit a little too close to home? You've got the clients, the demand is there, but you just don't have the capacity inside your firm to take on one more thing without everyone completely burning out. It's such a common and honestly a really frustrating spot for so many growing firms to be in. Yeah, and this right here, this is the heart of the problem. The work just keeps piling up. You've got tax deadlines breathing down your neck, audits, financial reporting, and your best people, they're stretched to the absolute breaking point. It's like you're on a treadmill, running as fast as you can just to stay in the same place. Okay, but what if you could actually change all that? This is where we need to start thinking a little differently. Imagine your back office not as a cost center, but as your firm's engine room. And that engine is powered by a flexible offshore team. It's a total fundamental shift in how you think about building capacity. So what do I mean by an engine room? Well, think of it like this. It's a dedicated team that handles all those essential, kind of routine tasks. The bookkeeping, the reconciliations, the tax prep stuff. But here's the kicker. They're operating remotely, maybe in a totally different time zone. What this does is it literally extends your firm's workday and lets you scale your capacity whenever you need it. Look, this is going to require a real mindset shift. This is not about just sending work away to some faceless company. No, it's about building a true remote extension of your firm. You have to think of it less like a temporary Band-Aid for busy season and way more like a permanent, strategic engine for your growth. And when you make that mindset shift, you unlock some serious strategic advantages. And yeah, look, saving money is obviously a benefit. We all get that. But the real power here goes so much deeper. We're talking about building a firm that's more resilient, more competitive, right from its very foundation. So let's talk impact. What does this actually mean for you? Well, for one, you can scale up without the massive overhead of hiring new full-time people. The cost efficiency is there, for sure. But you also get much faster client turnaround times because work can literally be happening while you sleep. And on top of that, because these teams are laser-focused on these specific tasks, you'll probably see a big jump in both consistency and accuracy. It's a win-win-win. But this right here is the holy grail. This is the real game changer. It's about freeing up your most valuable, most experienced people from the grind of routine compliance work. This means your partners and your senior staff can finally focus on what they should be doing: high-value, strategic advisory work for your best clients. Okay, so that's the why. It all sounds great in theory, right? But the big question is, how do you actually make it happen? Let's get practical. We're going to walk through a blueprint for building your very own offshore engine room. So where do you start? Well, first things first, you have to figure out what to actually send over. Before you can delegate a single thing, you need to do a really honest audit of your firm's workflows. And you have to ask yourself, what are the repeatable, process-driven tasks that are eating up all the valuable hours of my senior team? The perfect tasks for this are the ones that are structured and based on rules. You know what I'm talking about. The core stuff like bookkeeping and transaction processing, accounts payable and receivable, all those bank and credit card reconciliations, even payroll support. And think about it. Even the foundational work for tax prep and audit work papers are great candidates because you can define those processes step by step. All right, here's your 5-step roadmap to get this done right. First, you identify those tasks we just talked about. Then, and this part is absolutely critical, you have to document your processes with crystal clarity. After that, you define who does what, both in-house and offshore. Step 4 is a big one: choosing the right partner. Seriously, this can make or break the whole thing. And finally, my best advice: start small. Kick things off with a pilot project to prove it works and build that confidence before you scale up. Okay, now listen up because this next part is super important. For any of this to actually work, you have to absolutely nail the integration. The goal is to make your offshore team feel like they're just down the hall, not on the other side of the planet. They can't be some separate, siloed operation. They have to be part of your firm, part of your culture. So how do you do that? Well, it really boils down to two things: shared tech and constant communication. That means everyone, and I mean everyone, is using the same project management software. It means regular video check-ins are just part of the routine. They're not optional, and you have to set up very clear review points for quality control.
That's the stuff that makes it all feel seamless.
Okay, I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. Will this actually work for my small firm? It's a question we get all the time. It feels like a strategy for the big guys, right? But is it?
The answer is a huge, resounding yes. In fact, you could argue this model is even more powerful for small firms. Why? Because it lets you punch above your weight. You can compete with larger firms by adding capacity and efficiency, but you do it without taking on the massive financial risk of hiring more full-time staff before you're really ready for it.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, security. For any CPA, protecting client data is everything. It's non-negotiable. So the big question is, how on earth can you trust an offshore team with your client's most sensitive financial info? And the answer really comes down to one thing, your due diligence. It is all about choosing a professional, trusted partner. A reputable firm will have ironclad data security, strict compliance standards, and a proven track record. You have to vet them properly. And that leads to the next logical question, right? What about technical skills? Can a team based overseas really get the hang of all the complexities of US GAAP and our tax laws? 100% yes. But the key word here is experienced. The right partners invest a ton of money into training their teams specifically on US standards. They know US GAAP inside and out. They get federal and state tax laws. Their entire business model is built to serve US-based CPA firms just like yours. So as we start to wrap this up, let's just pull back and look at the big picture for a second. This strategy is not just about surviving the next tax season. No way. This is about fundamentally redesigning your firm for sustainable, long-term growth. I really love this quote because it just gets right to the heart of it all. It's really a 2-for-1 victory. You get to increase your firm's output and capacity, sure, but you do it while also improving the work-life balance and job satisfaction for your most important asset, your people, your in-house team. And that really brings us full circle to the ultimate goal. The true strategic reason for building this engine room is to finally let your senior leaders stop working in the business and start working on the business. Focusing on client relationships, building out advisory services, doing the things that actually lead to real strategic growth. So let me leave you with this one last thought to chew on. When you leverage time zones correctly, an offshore team can literally add a full 8-hour workday to your firm's capacity every single day. So the question is, what could your firm achieve with an extra 8 hours every day? What new clients could you finally take on? What new services could you build? That's the potential that's on the table.